Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Radiant Tale, continuing technically the common route, but Pashalia's route is what we're doing. But we just started chapter 3, sorta. We did our skipping through the beginning of the chapter, and now we are in the underwater park thing with Pashalia. So, yeah, I didn't think we could skip here. I'm pretty sure we didn't do this during the common route. We shared a destination, so I met up with Pashalia before heading to the underwater park. Huh, we really can't breathe down here. Our clothes aren't getting wet either. Apparently, Leaf enchanted the area when she was constructing Orions. It should be the same as being on land. Coral and aquatic plants waved with the currents. As I observed our surroundings, I noticed many couples around. Oh, right. He mentioned that couples who go on a date here would be together forever. And you know what? We were here with Ion and we saw the wedding and we ended up together forever. And now we're here with Shalia and we're going to be together forever. I think in the common route we were with Rady and Zephora. So it was like we were a group thing. So that's why we ended up with Ginia, sort of. We ended up as Ginia's assistant and we didn't fall in love with Ginia, but I'm just going to pretend because I'm in love with Ginia. And I definitely feel like a relationship with Ginny would absolutely start with you being exasperated, following him around, being like, could you stop? You have a meeting. Oh my God. And then you just like, the next thing you know, you're like, how are we married? When did this happen? I don't know. Okay, whatever. Like, I would love it though. Though it was a little late, I recalled the ferryman's words yesterday and felt restless. Snap out of it. We're only gathering intel. This isn't a date. After collecting myself, I turned to look at Pashalia. He was staring at a person cleaning a water fountain. Something the matter, Pashalia? That person seems to have a contract with a water spirit. This won't contribute to our investigation, but can I go talk to him for a bit? Sure, of course. Pashalia had told me he was searching for someone skilled in water magic, after all. His city had strong ties with water spirits, so our coming here was a golden opportunity. Furthermore, though Pashalia had said it wouldn't help our quest, in my eyes, talking to a resident, no matter what our motives were, would definitely benefit our investigation. Excuse me, I have a moment of your time. Yes, are you asking me? The aged janitor paused his work and faced Pashalia. Oh, aged! Okay, we're doing old man voice.
You seem to be connected with water spirits as well.
Yes, that's the case. There are a lot of people who have contracts with water spirits in the city.
Yeah, in the past there were even more spirits around, and we all coexisted in harmony. But as the spirit population shrunk, contractors saw a hefty decrease as well. Recently, even leave vows have become scarce.
Leave vows? Zephora mentioned that. Excuse me, what exactly are the leave vows?
You see, in the past, everyone would make an oath to Lady Leave whenever there was a wedding in Orions. They'd pledge to be together forever, in sickness and health, even after death do them part.
Wow, you don't even get away from that person when you die. Shit, those are hefty vows, I'm just saying. You have wedding vows, and you're like, you could always get a divorce. I mean, it takes some time, legal shit and whatever. But, like, you're like, till death do us part. So at least back in ye oldie days, you were like, at least I could just push him off a cliff, and then death, and then I'm free. But no, this is like, the leave vows is like, nope, even after death, I'm stuck with you. No wonder why nobody makes these. That's a lot of pressure. I mean, if it was truly your soulmate, you'd want to be with them in the afterlife, but you know. I'm having fun.
If the two swore with all their heart, Lady Leave would give them a protection.
Protection of a great spirit. That's wonderful.
But those who broke this oath would be punished severely.
Why no one makes it? Punished?
There have been cases where adulterers lose their sight or the ability to walk.
Okay, you know what? Actually, I'm with Leave on this. That sounds like a great idea. Now, listen, it's one thing if you're like, okay, we fell out of love, we're going to get divorced. I don't think you should be punished for that, but this? Hell yeah! Break their fucking kneecaps, Leave! Such retribution. I can see why people would be scared. Can't even imagine it. That's a harsh penalty. No, I can't even imagine it because that's a harsh penalty. Is like, no, you cheated on your significant other. Leave deserves to break your fucking kneecaps. Okay, it's a little extreme, but I'm just saying. Don't stick your dick in someone else's wick. That's not even a good sight. Don't stick your dick in anything else that you're not married to, okay? Like, gross. That's... Because your wick is your dick. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. But I feel like saying that's a harsh penalty is like, wow, I mean, people should be allowed to cheat. No. Chop it off. Stitch it up, whatever. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, no. Just don't cheat. Man or woman, don't fucking do it. That's douchey. So, I can't even imagine it. Is like, wow, I can't even imagine. It's a weird phrasing, but I'm taking it more like, I can't even imagine like wanting to cheat on someone and seeing that happen type of a thing. Or I can't even imagine anyone doing that, you know? Yeah, good. Honestly, I can't even imagine it. I mean, you're meant to go into a marriage with conviction to share your lifetime with one person alone, right? Yeah, this. Okay, perfect. It's Spiria, for example. Even after her husband passed away, to this day, her heart's still dedicated to him alone. I feel like once somebody dies, even though you love them desperately, like you would think they would want you to be happy, and if you found someone else, it'd be okay. Because like, I'm selfish, and I'm like, well, if I died, I mean, do I want you to move on? I don't know. Maybe not. But I'm selfish, so I'm a selfish asshole. I'd be like, oh hell no. But also, I'm selfish enough that, like, damn well I'm dying first. I'm not living without you. You can suffer. I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? But, like, the idea that you love someone so much that, like, yeah, no, I don't want to move on. You know? Beautiful. Maybe I don't get it because I've never been in a relationship before, but you love someone so much that you're willing to exchange vows. The ideal is, of course, to maintain that partnership forever. So, I can't really imagine or understand someone choosing to break that vow. Same here. I also haven't fallen in love before, so I don't know much, but whenever I see my parents love each other a lot, I admire that kind of bond. Oh my god, we're gonna make the leave vows with Bashalia. Damn right! Except for, you do understand, though, that there's a man harem. Right? Like, so, like... yeah. The punishment is scary, that's true. But there are people around us both that probably would... Oh, that would never... Wait. But there are people around us both that would probably never draw that sort of ire. That's why I don't think it's actually so hard to achieve. You and I both have no experience in matters of love. We're like twins. Twins. His word choice was just cute enough that I found myself letting out a small laugh.
Perhaps because of the punishment, more and more people thought that a normal wedding was better and the leave vows died out. There are remnants of it. People still confess or propose on boats and ferries, but that's about it.
We witnessed one when we arrived here. Ha, the water spirits made an ark of water and blessed the couple. Spirits voluntarily done those for a long time.
Yep, the water spirits residing in Oriens love the citizens living here. But the people are starting to neglect that. It's unbearable to watch.
I turned to look at what the janitor was pointing at and saw litter floating around.
There are more tourists and the city's flourished, but we've also lost things along the way. That's very regrettable to me. Oh dear, we've talked for quite a while. I need to return to my work.
Okay, sorry for disturbing you, and thank you very much. As we watched the janitor get back to his job, I whispered into Pashalia's ear, Pashalia, aren't you going to ask him about water magic? No. The spirit he's contracted didn't seem to be very strong. Not to mention the way of his work. I see. There's trash all over the place, now that I think about it. Cleaning it all up must be tough. The environment spirits live in becomes polluted. Bodies shrink. Worst case, some even disappear. There's the life source for water spirits. Sully it. Pashalia was usually a gentle soul, but now there was a dark expression on his face. Oh. Shelley is a contractor and spirits are his friends. I'm not surprised. He mentioned that there are fewer water spirits around. I'm a little concerned. I know that most people can't see them or hear their voices, but that doesn't mean that anyone has the right to trample on them. Shalia, he seemed pained on their behalf, and seeing that, I couldn't do nothing. Hey, how about we collect trash too? Huh? We can go help the person earlier. I'm sure the spirits would be happy. It might not make much of a difference, but I think it's better than doing nothing. I rolled up my sleeves and picked up a paper box that was lying around. Ugh, I was wondering why it was so oily. There's fries in it. Should have thrown it into the garbage if they didn't want to eat it. You're such a kind person. No, you're the kind one. I only started caring more about the spirits after I began talking to you. We can't see them, but we can communicate. Spirits are also living, breathing beings. Humans would hate it if some random person made their house dirty. I'm sure it's the same for them. As I talked, I picked up some paper scraps and threw them into the trash can. Respect and admire that aspect of yours. And that's the thing I don't understand is like littering. Like, it's not like you throw something in the trash can and it blows out and you don't notice or whatever, or the trash cans are too full, you're trying to put something in the trash can and like, whatever. But like, and I kind of understand like when you're doing like a marathon, like they always have, the water cups and you take it and you chuck it, like whatever, but like they should have for trash cans, like near the little water things where you kind of run up, you grab water, you chuck it and you throw it in a garbage instead of throwing it on the ground. But there's always, at least for that, it's an event, they have someone sweep up afterward type of a thing. So like, but that's not like, oh, I'm sitting in the movie theater and there's trash cans on the way out, but I'm just gonna like leave my cup here or chuck my popcorn on the floor or something. Like, just throw it in the bin. It's not that fucking hard. I mean, I get it. There's going to be times where people might forget, but like, that's not everyone. And there's way too many times where you're like, things are disgusting because people are just lazy. It's not that fucking difficult. Like, it's not that difficult to like, oh, I had a drink in the car. Oh, okay. I'm driving and now it's done. Don't you chuck it out your window? You fucking like leave it until you go to a gas station where there's garbage cans right there, or you get home and you throw it away. You don't chuck it out the fucking window. Like, what is wrong with people? Like, I don't understand it. I don't. Like, yeah, it does suck if you're in the middle of a city and the trash can's really full and you're like, I'm trying to put something in the trash can and it's not going to stay because it's windy and it's going to fall on the ground, whatever, or there's trash around it, because that's on the city to make sure there's someone coming around to collect the trash. So that doesn't happen. But that still doesn't mean, the trash can's full, I'll just chuck it in the road. No, you just try to stuff it in there as best you can. Like, that's a totally different situation than just this, where people are walking by and like, done with my fries, just chuck it behind me. Like, the fuck? But that's just showing how douchey these people are. Goddamn. Anyway. Oh, you think too highly of me. There's very little I can do. And that's not the case at all. Everyone puts themselves first. I'm also one of those people. But that's why I think you're amazing. Willing to soil your own hands for someone else's sake. The spirits are happy too. They're all saying thank you. Shelia gazed at something in the air and broke out into a smile. Though I couldn't see them with my own eyes, hearing that the spirits were happy, I felt my motivation soar. All right, let's clear away the trash along this entire path. Tell me when you find risky things like glass. I'll see to those. Okay, got it. Thanks. Oh, now we're Pashalia. And again, it's not like there's no trash cans here. We're like, oh, I have to carry it. No, there's trash cans. You're just lazy. I leaned down to grab some trash and looked over. She was squatting down on the other side of the path and collecting litter. I mean, look at how beautiful this background is, though. I love this. She's not going to get anything in return, but she still gives it her all. Her amazing, Spacey. At first, I felt a duty to protect her because she was a girl, but then I learned that she was much stronger than I ever imagined. Sometimes, she was the one pulling me forward. I've started finding this journey fun. I think I have her to thank for that as well. Hey, real adventure didn't turn out like the ones in books. Oh, I enjoyed it. It could last forever. Who's Vita? Water shook and ripples appeared on the surface. My appearance was reflected on it. I found myself sighing. I wonder if Vita's the spirit he's contracted to, but he acts like he didn't know? You know what I mean? Sorry. To get myself together, right? I'm sure that there must be someone. I like getting into his head a little. I finished my cleanup, so I went over to check on Pashalia. Huh? Where is he? There wasn't any garbage on the ground, so he must have finished before me. Where in the world did he... Excuse me. May I have a moment? Pashalia was actually blocking a couple who had been walking side to side. Hey, what? Why did you suddenly interrupt us, huh? I'm so sorry. Shelia, did you forget the superstition here? We can't disturb them. Frantically, I pulled on his arm and he let out a small, realization. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. He sensed water magic and stopped thinking. Excuse me? Magic? You've been spouting nonsense the whole time. I won't fall for your tricks. You talked to us because she's pretty, didn't you? Yikes, he's got the wrong idea. That's not the... Yes, right. I think she is very pretty. What? I'd attempted to shield Pashalia, but then my eyes widened at his unexpected reply. Oh, so Pashalia likes this kind of girl? True, she was an incredible beauty, even in my eyes. She had blue hair and blue eyes in a similar shade to Pashalia's. If those two stood side by side, they'd look lovely. She's got this water spirit contracting, probably. Yeah, I mustn't forget that he's a man who'd have these kinds of desires. I'd known that very well, but I felt as if I'd been forced to suddenly face reality. I like how she's like, oh, yeah, wait. Why am I wait, huh? Oh, girl. So you really were interested in her. I'm warning you Yes, this lady's the one for you. Just like how she's the one for me. He abruptly hugged my shoulder and pulled me closer, snapping me out of it. Ion caught the bouquet and was like, oh, here, yeah, wife, sure. I like how we're like, huh? Shelia. Spacey, love you. This is an adorable CG. I love her shocked Pikachu. I love the fact that now this is both Ion and Pashalia have totally she's like, what the fuck is happening? I love it so much. Also, he's totally in his element with the water bubbles and these cloak floating behind him. It's beautiful. What? I felt something soft on my cheek that quite literally took my breath away. A kiss? And love? What's going on? Sorry. This was the only way to convince him. Would you please go along with me for now? Hearing what he whispered into my ear, I felt my embarrassment overflowing. Oh, I see. Oops. I ended up getting all nervous for nothing. I need to calm down. We're only trying to get out of the situation peacefully. But first time I've ever kissed anyone. I suppose that marks my first kiss. It's a kiss on the cheek, it's different. I tried really hard to remain unfazed, but hearing that didn't help at all. It was my first time too, you know. Wait, he called it a first kiss, but does it count if it's on the cheek? I love the fact that, they're both awkward nerds. He's like, it was my first kiss, and she's like, what? But there's a cheek, what? They do the awkward embarrassment good in this one, you know what I mean? I nearly had a meltdown, but Pashalia leaned away just in time. Sorry for giving you the wrong impression. I'm actually just looking for people with skill in water magic. She happened to catch my eye, which is why I called out to her. Fine then, I guess. Glad we cleared that up. Okay, we were in the middle of a date as well, so we'll take our leave. Shelia held my hand and began walking away with brisk strides. I told myself that I shouldn't care too much about it, but the heat in my cheeks remained. My god, I know, but beautiful, precious Prince Pashalia just kissed you on the cheek. Pashalia isn't affected at all, but look at me. Ugh, so embarrassing. As that thought crossed my mind, Pashalia suddenly halted his footsteps. Sorry, I was walking too fast. When Pashalia turned around, I seemed to spot a slight flush in his face. Nah, it's fine. Hold on. Sorry. Trying to skirt around the awkwardness in the air, I changed the topic. That lady had water magic, right? You're really going to pass up on this chance? Oh, yeah, it's okay. But when I got closer to her, I realized that she was actually a water elemental fae. Wait, really? I had no clue. If she were keeping it secret from her partner, it'd be unfair of me to expose her. And fae can't give me the answers I want. His explanation made a lot of sense, so I let out a breath of relief. Then, for some reason, Shalia's shoulders seemed to tense with the start. He hurriedly let go of my hand. Are you mad about what just happened, right? He was almost like a child bracing for a scolding. I shook my head. No, I was surprised, but I'm not mad. Hearing my words, Pashalia let out a long sigh of relief. So glad to hear that. I want you to dislike me. For some reason, those words seemed to have the same weight as an I like you. I couldn't ever dislike you over something like this. I ended up blurting that out without thinking. I like how awkwardly oh my god, he blushes so intensely. His blush is like so intense. It's adorable, Jesus. I do like though that we're kind of like, I mean, it was the same thing with Ion at this point. You're like, oh, awkward. Do I like him? I think it's cute. I see. Yeah. He looked happy, even somewhat shy. I mean, his fucking cheeks are literal crimson. There was a tightness in my chest, but didn't dislike the feeling. It's a little hot here. I'm feeling thirsty. Me too. They're selling drinks over there. Okay, let's buy some. This time we walked side by side at the same pace. It wasn't anything significant, but it felt more special than our usual moments together. Also, just so you know, a kiss on the cheek doesn't count as your first kiss, so we're good. Kiss me on the lips next time. Evening fell. Vilio looks sad. Everyone's reporting on their non-findings. Ginnia winking at us. That happened before. I couldn't keep up. Talking to a list. That was also there. Oh, right, and this is where they're, like, the people in the bar, and then we go to talk to them. We should go over to Liz, because Jean was the one with Ion, and Liz is with Pashalia, right? Yes. As a fellow woman, I thought I might be able to better help Liz. Pashalia, allow me to join you. Calm her down, Pashalia had led her to another seat some distance from Jean. If you're with me, I'm sure it'll be easier for her to speak up. You're a great help. Don't cry. It's all right. We're here to help you. Pashalia took out a handkerchief and handed it to the crying woman. Thank you very much. She wiped her tears with it and looked at her partner, who was now a few tables over. I liked him for the longest time, yet... Have you two been dating for a while? Huh? No, we're not dating. What? I thought you two were a couple and that he cheated on you. Am I mistaken? You are. At those words, Pashalia and I exchanged a look. Then, whatever he did, it doesn't count as cheating, right? But I like him! We've been friends for a pretty long time, and I was trying to come up with a special confession he would remember for the rest of his life. And then I saw him talking to another girl and acting all chummy and... Talking? In that case, they might really just be friends, like he said, don't you think? But they looked really close. The kind of intimacy they had didn't look like friendship to me. Well, that's the way it always feels when you see the guy that you're in love with talking to someone else. You're like, they were practically dry humping. And he's like, that was my sister? And she was handing me a Tic Tac. Like, you know what I mean? I'm sure that's what they call it these days. You know what I mean? Like, you're very irrational when you're in love with someone. They were talking, and these two aren't even dating to begin with. As I struggled to comprehend the situation, Pashalia spoke up. It's really as much as you say. Mentioned that the two of you have been friends for a long time. Must be hard for you to decide whether you want to stay friends or confess and alter your relationship. It is. I hate for things to become awkward between us if he turns me down, but being friends forever also doesn't sit right with me. I understand. The thought of getting hurt is scary. However, he decided to take action regardless, and to take a step forward. And that takes a lot of courage, you know? If I were in his shoes, that fact alone would be enough to make me happy. Says that as he's looking at you, and you're like, why are you looking at me while you're saying this? You're the one that should confess to me first. I don't have balls. I need you to step up and do this. I can't. I'm a chicken. You said you wanted to confess in a way that he'd remember for the rest of his life. I don't think he's gonna forget this, that you threw a fucking bottle at him that went through a window and brought random strangers in to deal with your shit. I'm just saying, I would never forget that. I don't think it's the method that matters, but the emotion you're trying to convey. Is I can't trust you anymore truly the thing you want to tell him most? No, The rest of that thought to him. I said something awful, so he must hate me now. Take a look. He's very concerned about you, so if you tell him the truth, I'm sure he'll understand. Timidly, she peered over at Jean. He was looking at her anxiously. I'll go talk to him. Liz stood up and headed over to Jean. Looks like it worked out after all. As Jean embraced Liz, my shoulders sagged in relief. Ion must have given him great advice. No, I believe that you are more versed in such matters, Pashalia. It's funny, you and Ion must have given him good advice. He says that as if we... When I read that, I was like, this feels like... It's interesting that the you and Ion must have given him good advice when I was with Pashalia the whole time. But that's the generic line for when you get back together. But I think they would have changed that. Like, Ion coming over and been like, you must have given him good advice, Ion. And then the Ion part is where it skips. But, weird. So that's a little flaw right there, where you're like, that's a little awkward. Doesn't matter, is I. After our dinner, or more accurately, party, I'd finished writing my letter to Spiria and was headed back to my tent when... have a moment. Pashalia called out to me. Sure, what is it? It's all right with you. Head to the underwater park for a moment. Spacey. You. What? Hearing Pashalia's request, I recalled what had happened the last time we'd gone to the park together. We're gonna leave Orion's tomorrow. So I wanted to see it one last time before we go. Alright, we just did the event too, I forgot. Spacey. Be a bother. Oh, it's not a bother at all. I'm probably the only one here overthinking things. I had no reason to refuse seeing the city with him before we left. I'm glad. Let's go then. If he wanted to go to the park, he could have gone alone, though. So, why is he asking me to come along? Not that I wasn't happy about his invitation. Underwater Park at night had a completely different beauty than it did during the day. But it's still a popular place for couples to go on dates. It takes some courage to head there alone, considering that fact, I suppose. But even if he wanted to ask for company, it would be awkward to invite someone if he didn't mean for it to be a date. So does he maybe... I couldn't stop myself from wondering. I do absolutely love this, because this is exactly the fucking amount of neurotic I would be if someone was like, hey, you want to go here? Okay. Is this like a date? Are we going on a date? Are you in... What's going on? The only people who ever are like, hey, we should hang out or do stuff are the gay men. Seriously, so I don't have to worry about it. I still remember the last time I made a friend at work. We don't really talk anymore, but like, I was talking to one of my other friends and it was like, yeah, so he asked me to hang out, blah, but she's like, oh, I think he likes you. I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's gay. No, I think he's got a crush on you. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure he's gay. Definitely gay. Straight men don't talk to me. Like, that's why I have to play these games. But it was just so funny because I'm like, but it's one of those things that you're like, I'm not sure if gay or asking me on a date. That's literally At this point, I'd be like, wait, but you know what? He's probably gay. All right, anyway, we're fine. That's exactly where my brain would go, because I would never actually believe anyone was asking me out on a date. And then we'd go there and it'd be a date, and I'd be like, huh, did not see that one coming. I mean, in the Satome game, you should, but still. Yeah. I definitely understand her being neurotic here. This is absolutely how I would be. I tried to clear my restless mind before catching up to Pashalia. Especially because the only reason you're thinking, like, is he thinking it's a date? Is it like a date? Are we going on a date? Does he think that? Is he into me? Because you're kind of into him. Because otherwise, if you had no interest in him whatsoever, you'd be like, all right. And then he'd be like, I'm in love with you. And you're like, yeah, I didn't get that vibe because I was totally, like, not thinking of you like that. As one would expect, the ferry heading toward the park was filled with couples. During the day, we'd understood that there were many couples in the city, but the ratio was even more extreme at night. Stand so close to the edge, you're gonna get wet, Spacey. Well, I'm fine, so... I couldn't meet his eyes for some reason, so I distanced myself from him a little. But then Pashalia spotted the hem of my dress, which had already gotten splashed. He pulled me over to him with a tug. I was like, are we getting a CG of this? No, but damn. Okay, here. He switched places with me and gave me a grin. If you get too wet and caught a cold, everyone would give me an earful. Thanks, but you're gonna get splashed too if you stand there, Pashalia. It doesn't matter. I'm a man and one contracted with a water spirit, no less. So a little water won't do me any harm. I like how he's like, you're a woman. If you got wet, you'd catch a cold, but I'm a man, so that doesn't happen. Also, the boat shouldn't be going this fast. Your uterus might fly out. Have we talked about how men in ye olde times didn't think women should go on trains? Or trains were evil, or there was just this whole thing of trains and women shouldn't go on trains because your uterus might fall out? Really? What the fuck? You really thought my uterus was going to get yanked out of my body because I was going 50 miles an hour on a fucking train? Like, what the actual fuck is wrong with ye olde-timey men? Seriously? Idiots. And the fact that they ruled everything, and kind of sort of still do, but they're really stupid. What the fuck? For some reason, my heart was thumping so hard that it surprised me. Shelley is just being his usual self, but perhaps I'd been influenced by the atmosphere around me because... No, look at the way he's looking at us. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's his normal face, but it looks very like... He's giving us bedroom eyes right now. I'd somehow forgotten how to talk to him. How did we used to chat in the past? What do I do? It was just the two of us, so I couldn't rely on another team member in this situation. I couldn't let this go on. To Pashalia, I'd become someone he cared about enough to say, I don't want you to dislike me. But I didn't want him to get any weird impressions. So why was this happening to me? Because you kind of have a thing for him. See, is something the matter? I seem to be deep in thought. Troubled by something. No, it's nothing, really. Can't discuss with me. Seeing him deflate like that made me feel guilty about dodging the topic. And that's not it. Never. It's just that, well, we're surrounded by lovebirds, and I feel that we're kind of out of place. Right. And there might be even more couples than when we came at noon. Is that perhaps of the legend that couples who have dates in the underwater park together forever? Pashalia looked at our surroundings once again. It's funny, he's like, hey, you want to go out to the park? Because I think it'd be cool, and I was just heading there, and you want to go? And then we go, and we're like, there's nothing but couples here. And he's like, oh, yeah. Yeah, that's awkward. Anyway. Maybe deep down inside he's having the panic attack that we're also having. He's just hiding it better. But it seemed that only I was perturbed by the fact that we might be out of place in the sea of couples. I bet he is a little bit too, you just can't tell, because you're so perturbed he seems normal. Because he continued talking as if nothing had happened. I do think it's only a romantic superstition. The word forever doesn't really click. Nobody knows what the future holds. As he spoke, Pashalia seemed to be gazing at something not quite here. We're like, he seems calm. He's like, you know what I mean? It's just a weird superstition, because, I mean, like, who knows what forever is? Because, like, I mean, what is forever anyway? Because, like, I mean, like, do you die? Is there something after you die? Because I'm like, whatever. And, like, nobody knows what the future holds. And we're like, listen to him. He's just so calm about this, and really, he's just rambling and has word vomit because he's anxious too. And we just think he's being totally chill. That's exactly how this shit plays out. Although it only lasted for a brief moment. But I understand why people would want Lana forever. Those two we saw on a date in the park, as well as the two in Cheers we mediated. I think they all have an earnest wish to be with the person they chose for the rest of their lives. Till now, love, for me, was only something in the pages of books. But the people here are different, and they see the love they hold dear as part of them and face it with all of their heart. I admire that. I admire how they can be so determined and passionate. Yearn after such a love like they do. Me? Well, I pondered the question for a moment. Yes. It'd be a wonderful thing to treat love how they did. However, I had a duty I needed to focus on right now. And so... We'll soon arrive at our destination. Please prepare to disembark. We'll be getting off shortly. Phrasing. I know he means getting off the ferry, but like, phrasing! Only in my gutter mind. My reply died in my throat. Before I could finish it, we'd gotten back on land. I was like, on land in the underwater park? How do you go from on top? Is the underwater park like above sea level? You know what I mean? Like, you think it's like, oh, we're going to go into a tunnel and go underwater. You know, like, if you thought of the way they would build an underwater park without magic, you'd be like, I go in an elevator, and then we go into this room, and it's like, oh, it's glass, it's in a tank or something. You know what I mean? So, like, you're on a ferry going to an underwater park, but you're on water. And then you go under. Where does this transition happen? Is it like a little island that's like, technically it's a park, so it's like you just going from Orions across a little bit of water to this park that then is technically underwater. It's in an underwater dome, but it's technically at sea level, but also, you think about it because it's underwater under. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it a dome of water surrounding this park, or is it literally under the ocean, and then how does the ferry get there? Did they explain this and I forgot? They might have, I don't know. Wow, the moon here really is completely different at night. It's so pretty. It's so funny because I keep seeing the little bubbles and things that are floating on the screen. Like, because there's the little water effect, and every once in a while I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh god, it's a little bubble on the screen. Like, see, there's a little sprinkle of it going around right there. Like, the illuminated park was simply enchanting. I could see why it was so popular. Apparently, if we go past this plaza, we'll find the Lacrima earrings that Leave left behind. The ferryman mentioned that when we first arrived. Did, but we didn't get to take a look because we were so busy preparing for the show. So he really is here to sightsee. Oh, come on, wasn't that obvious? That's the only reason he'd want to come here. We should have invited Vilio along if we were just coming to check it out. He seems like the type who'd enjoy it. Probably Ginny too. Well, I guess there's a chance Ginny came here on his own at some point because he felt like it. I know. But I wanted to see this with you alone. Oh, is that so? That sounds great! I'm fine! Voice cracking. Knowing Pashalia, he probably doesn't mean anything more than that. Surely, I think. Shelley's expression was the exact same as always, so I couldn't read his intentions at all. The items floating there must be the Lacrima earrings. They're just floating? They're just floating. You just like walking around. Ow! Fucking a post of the earring in my eye! They should be like on a pedestal or something, you know what I mean? Not just hovering. Like, you could walk into them. They're not that big. There were several arches, decorated with flowers lining the path beyond the plaza. And one such arch was in the shape of a heart, and trinkets encased in an orb of water floated beneath it. Okay, that makes a little more sense. Like, here's a little archway, and then it's a heart thing, and then, okay. Noticeable. Like, that's magic, right? Yes. It's like it's extensively protected by powerful spells. I can also sense an overwhelming amount of magic from the earrings themselves. Amazing. They're such precious artifacts. Hey, y'all came out of nowhere. Yet they chose to display them in an area where everyone can see. Maybe they thought that rather than storing them away inside somewhere, it'd make everyone happier if they got to see them themselves. I mean, technically, that's what a museum is. You're not storing it, you are storing it away inside, but you're putting it out for everyone to be able to see. Slightly different than this, because this is like in the middle of a park, like a statue in a park. You don't have to pay to go see it. But it's very similar to like a free museum in a park. You know what I mean? Like, you don't, like, classical pieces of art and stuff aren't like boxed away hidden. They're protected, obviously. These are protected by magic. But like, it'd be no different than like, oh, we have to go to the little museum where they are. You know? I guess in this world, it's like these magical artifacts are here for people to see and not like stored in a case in the palace or wherever, whatever royal capitol building they have or whatnot, locked away where no one gets to see them type of a thing. It's like, nah, here they are. Come see them. Again, like a statue in the park. I'm sure that's the case. And the spirits all mention this as well. But Leave was truly a being who cared about the people here more than anything else. I don't know why I keep yelling. I'm sorry. That's why she did so many things that she thought would make people happy. This must be another of those. See, we owe our thanks to Leave then. Yes, we do. Once again, I stared at the floating jewels. The ambient light shone on the water as they glowed brilliantly. They were simply magical. Hey, everyone seems to be going through the arch in pairs. Is there a special meaning to doing that? Just a theory, but there's probably a superstition about that as well. I wouldn't know the details, though. Numerous couples were lining up before the heart-shaped arch. Oh, since we're here, how about we walk through it as well? But we don't know when we'll get the chance to come here again, after all. Huh? Sorry, that's not your cup of tea. I thought it could make for a nice memory, so... Go through it together. Decline would be a bad ending, I'm sorry. I feel like declining, like, yeah, no, let's not, would be a bad thing, but like, yeah, let's do it. Okay, thank God. I was like, I can't decline him. He doesn't mean anything by it. I'm sure Pashali only wants to make memories, like he said. That's all. Turning him down would make me feel guilty. Exactly! Not to mention, I do want to see them up close, regardless of the romantic implications, so... Mind made up, I gave him my reply. Yeah, I'm sure it'll make a great, memory, right? Let's go. My voice might have come out more high-pitched than I'd expected. Yeah, I mean, that sounds awesome! Hey, let's line up. So the teardrop crystals on the earrings are lacrima. See. Huh. And they are the same shape. Same shape as what? Oh, that's a secret. And more importantly, look, it's our turn. It wasn't as if we were acting like lovers or making any vows. We were only walking through a heart-shaped arch. That was all. Hey, let's go through one. Now. Got it. And now! Said that together. We said that in concert as we walked forward. It was only one step that ended within the span of a few seconds, but I'm glad I got to walk under it with you. And that's another precious memory made. I think it's funny is like they are the same shape and you're like, as what? Nothing! Secret that'll come out in his route. He's keeping a lot of secrets. I like it. Shelley had talked about that one single step with elation, as if it were truly something memorable to him. Yep, the most important thing is that he's happy. I still feel like he's gonna die or something, that he's trying to prevent himself from dying. Like, maybe not being able to control the water magic is killing him or something. I feel like he was already sick as a child, like, when we saw him, like, sitting in bed reading and his hands looked all cracked and stuff. There's something going on there, but I have a feeling he's dying. Like, you know what I mean? It's gonna be something dramatic like that. After that, we wandered around aimlessly while admiring the scenery in the park. I've started to get used to it, but the idea of being underwater is still so unusual. is. I feel very comfortable here, though. And maybe because Leave was the one who created this place. You do? Hmm. There are a bunch of water spirits around, right? Can't see them, but I can tell they're there from all the movement in the water. Yep. None of them seem to like you, too. To tell you the truth, there's a whole cluster around us. Really? Huh. Well, that makes me feel a little shy. Uh, there's a bench over there. How about we take a seat? After we sat down, Pashalia looked to me with a serious expression. I actually invited you here because I wanted to give you something. A real kiss? Your heart? Oh! It's so pretty. It's the same shape as the lacrima earrings. Is that what he was talking about? It's the same shape. And you're like, as what? Nothing? Pashalia reached into his bag and took out a charm with a transparent crystal. Oh, don't they, like, sell these little charms or something like that? And, like, so he probably bought us one and was like, oh, yeah, the little charm is the same shape as the earrings. Wait, this looks similar to the ones we just saw. Yeah, it's a replica of the crystal and the lacrima earrings. And the souvenir the ferryman mentioned when we first arrived in the city. Yeah, okay. Bought it during a break while we were doing our promotion. Ion made a point about how things like these seem to appeal to girls, and, well, I know you weren't the type to rely on trinkets to grant your wishes, but wishes came true. Overjoyed as well. My God, why are you so goddamn beautiful? Like, looking, but I mean your soul and just this. Why is it stop it. Stop it. My heart is true to Zephora. No, I'm just kidding. I love fucking all the characters and every single fucking one of you. Dear God. Oh, and it might be a self-indulgent request on my part. I'd be happy if you accepted it. Oh, though it might be. Sorry. Shalia, thank you. The crystal seemed to glisten, and I was sure that it wasn't just the lights in the park. Bought this for me? I'm so happy he was thinking of me. Shalia placed the crystal in my palm before enveloping it with his hands. All your wishes come true. He prayed that in earnest with all his heart. And that was enough to make this crystal priceless to me. I can't just accept this without giving something in return. I want to thank you, too. I'll have to give you a return gift to your return gift. Look at his face is slightly troubled, like, but then I would have to... Wait, but then I'd have to... And that's exactly why you don't need to worry about that. I said earlier, overjoyed if your wishes came true. In that case, hope that yours are granted too, Pashalia. You do that, not yours that'll be granted after all. It'll be mine. Pashalia, you just said the same thing yourself. I feel the same way you do. Seeing you find what you're searching for may make me even happier than my own hopes coming true. Spacey. Maybe I'll get you one of these too. Oh, you don't have to. It's the thought that counts. It's more than enough for me. We can't let the crystal get scratched, so use this bag. Thank you. Oh, we shouldn't stay out too late, so let's start heading back. I slipped the charm into the bag and stood up. In that instant, something strange caught my eye. By the way, Pashalia, was that water hourglass you wear always that color? What? Ooh, it's purple now! I feel like it was closer to light blue in the past. Oh, it changes colors sometimes. I was wondering if it was going to be like pink or something, like, oh, it's like a mood fucking hourglass. It's showing his emotions. Well, maybe it stays, and maybe that's like a blue violet-y color because that's like deep passion. Because a mood ring, technically, when you're happy in love, they're supposed to be dark blue, remember? I remember that color on the mood ring. I don't remember the rest of them, but you know what I mean? So maybe it's kind of like a mood hourglass. Really? This water hourglass is special. It's something very important to me. I'd sometimes take note of his ornament, but I found it strange that the water inside wasn't always flowing, which is why I'd assumed it wasn't really intended to be a precise measurement of time. Very pretty, though. Could you show me again when it changes color next? Sure. As we talked, we walked side by side. I think it's cute. I really wonder if it's like a fucking like mood pendant. I feel like it's something like it's counting down the time or your or something. It's tied to like obviously his story in some way. Duh. But like, is it measuring the time you have left or the magic is eating you up or but then I'm wondering if it's also like if it can do that, like see, sometimes it's oh god, I'm using all my magic and I'm gonna die. Oh wait, never mind, it's fine, I'm doing okay. Like, you know, it's gonna be flowing back and forth. Because like sometimes if you're sick, you're like, I'm getting better, I'm getting worse, I'm getting better. It's like waves, you know what I mean? Even when you just have a cold, like whatnot. But so I'm wondering if it's something to do with that. But if it is, if it can measure that, like, oh my god, you're dying, no, you're doing good, whatever, why can't it measure your emotions as well? Hey. This water hourglass he's always wearing, is that important to him, huh? Can't wait to find out the secrets. Be nice if I got another chance to learn more about Pashalia. With these thoughts in my mind, I gently held the bag containing the charm. It in my chest, by my heart. Intermission! Probably going into chapter 4 then, I assume. I like how intermission is like, and then there's a little thing right before we hit chapter 4. Oh! Aleste, my love. My precious little glasses nerd. I'm so glad you didn't turn out to be evil. Look, I was concerned. The game can't dangle you in front of me and then make you an asshole. I'm, you know, he's in that side character love where you're like, I love you. Why are you a side character? Ginny is the number one, though, because, like, I still am like, Ginny is like a main character I can't date. This is fucking weird. Aleste is absolutely a side character. You know? This dick is a side character. Abby, right. Abby's a side character. Fucking Leon's a side character. You know? Balto's a side character. They're side characters, and that's, you know, but like, Ginny is a main fucking character that is actually a side character. I hope Leon is in the frickin' fan disc, and I really hope they localize it. I'm still hoping for that. I'm just going to assume we find Pashalia, okay? Yes, Stadium, Pashalia. Here we go. You know what I mean? Like, they really need to do it, and I hope Leon gets a fucking route, because he's adorable. The next day... Good one! Smash him! Oh, I stood up already! I put my bets on you, you know! From a spectator seat, I observed a duel that I chanced upon. I deliberately chose a place in the back with less people, but the heat here is still overwhelming. Everyone seemed to be immersed in the battle unfolding in the arena. I can't find any openings to talk to them. The frenzy was honestly a little intimidating, and feeling small, I couldn't make any moves. Then, may I have some water? Hearing a familiar voice, I spun around to find Pashalia talking to a vendor selling beverages. He had to know we were going to see Pashalia, so I knew it was him. Just water? Well, that'll be 50 R. Hey, here you go. 500. I'm sorry, they said 500. I can't read. Exact change. Great. Enjoy. Pashalia accepted the bottle of water, pressed it against his cheek, and closed his eyes. So cool. Inside this brutal atmosphere, Pashalia seemed to form the only oasis of peace. Careful not to get in the way of the other spectators, I walked closer to him. Inching along the wall secretly. Walking up behind him going, ah! Scares the crap out of him. Hello, Pashalia. Yes, he was scared him a little. He hurriedly pulled the bottle from his face, but... You've still got water on your cheek. I wiped his face with my handkerchief, and he smiled a bit sheepishly. Oh, he's blushing again. He blushes, and it's so bright red. It's so adorable. Thanks. Caught me in an embarrassing moment. Got so hot after I came here, I couldn't help myself. Yeah, the fever in here is crazy. Must have affected you, too. While rowdy bellows and shouts filled the air around us, Pashalia drank from the bottle. Alive again. Would you like to have some too? I put it out nonchalantly, and I reached for it without thinking, but... Wait, stop right there! Pashalia just drank from this, didn't he? Oh, right, we're at the indirect kiss shit. I love it. Not knowing what to do, I started fumbling like a fool. Oh, sorry. Drinking from someone else's bottle isn't for everyone. I'll buy another. Wait, I'm fine. I frantically stopped him from getting up. Sure, it's nice and cold. Yeah, I'm not that thirsty, and the drinks here must be expensive. 500 Rs seemed a little steep to me, but now I see my suspicion was correct. They can expect better sales in crowded places, so they inflate the prices. I mean, like, I don't know what that translates to, but like, let's just say it's like 500 yen. That's like still like $5 fucking. That's a lot of money for a water bottle, which makes sense. Are we at Disney? That's why it's better if you buy things in advance before coming to these places. I lectured him, but an instant later I regretted it a little. I sound so stingy. The habits I'd acquired to lessen Spiria's burden had manifested without me realizing. He seemed to enjoy the drink so much, I might have spoiled the moment for him. You're really good at being resourceful with matters like these. But when you go grocery shopping, you often buy in bulk, and eye out for cheaper options, right? I don't know anything about that stuff, so I'm always in awe of your knowledge. Really? I'm just being cheap, to be blunt. Not at all. If you didn't tell me that 500 for water is overpriced, I might have continued to pay it. Even if I knew it was expensive, I've had a clue why it is. Learning new things is fun. For me, what just happened is a new discovery. And it's so funny because it makes him sound naive and stupid. You're like, are you fucking slow? But like, he's from the country where and this is a different environment, and we're used to like, wait, I know what they do. You know what I mean? It's a totally different environment, and it's the same thing if you've never been to like a theme park or you never go to Vegas. You're like, fuck is everyone smoking in here? Can you still smoke in casinos? It's been a long time since I've been to Vegas, but you know what I mean? Like, things are baffling when you go different places that are outside your normal sphere, you know? It's like when you go from the East Coast to the West Coast. It's like a whole different fucking world. When you go from like anywhere to New England. The fuck is that? You know what I mean? Like, even just locations in the U.S., for God's sakes, going from one end of the state to another in the state you live in is vastly different. So, I mean, some things are the same, but Bishalia came from a nice little country town, you know, where they probably weren't jacking up water, and he gets here and he's like, pricey, but whatever. Doesn't know the reasoning behind it, because how many times have you gone to see people, like, literally punch the fuck out of each other? Okay, maybe if you go to boxing or some shit, but, like, you know. But it's just funny the way it says it. He's like, oh, wow, this is new. It's like, are you an idiot? That's Vilio. Again, with Vilio, it's like, he's a little naive, but also, you came from an island of dragons, so, like, shit is different here. Michelia didn't seem to mind at all as he drank from the bottle once again. Makes sense. Such business practices likely don't exist in the countryside. That, exactly. It was something normal to me, but Pashalia described it as something praiseworthy. My self-deprecating feelings toward being stingy were swept away. All right, that's the last strike! I was reading that like the announcer. Hey, don't stay down now! Get up even if you have to crawl, damn it! This place is a little too extreme. I know it might be the standard here, but just now, the person who fell down must have gotten seriously hurt. Yeah. The duel Abby showed us. I feel that the value of life here is cheap. People may not die in these duels. If the injuries indirectly lead to their deaths one day, they probably will. Brain injuries. These are treated as expendable and wasted here. I don't like it. Lives are the one thing we should treasure more than anything in the world. Yet, the gladiators fight, even if it means shedding blood. The audience cheers, elated by all of this. Hey, I love how soft and delicate he is. I mean, I can't disagree with him, but it is funny because even Ion would agree with this. You know what I mean? Would be like, yeah, no, it sucks. But that's the way life is here, and I was forced into it. And I don't like the fighting to the death type of a thing. But again, it's because he was forced into the fighting to the death aspect of it, and it was forced. These people here, it's their way of life, and they don't see anything weird about it until it's like... And Ion might not have seen anything weird about it either. I mean, he was coming to the city. He wasn't born here, but if he had come to the city, gone into the little, whatever, the security forces academy or whatever it was, and wasn't human trafficked, basically, he might have thought of this as like, oh, it's just normal here, it's a little strange, but whatever, and you get used to it type of a thing. Like, you know, even though I think Softy at heart would probably be like, yeah, it's a little weird, but hey. But you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I'm kind of glad that they made Ion the way they did without, not like, oh, glad you were a human slave. No, like, but I'm glad it was like, his thought process on here and the culture here is like, it's kind of fucked up. Yeah, they value strength over everything, but like, yeah, fighting people to the death is a little much. You know what I mean? As opposed to being like, no, we like to fight, yeah. Like, I like the fact that he's still soft on the inside. He's just not as soft as Pashalia. Pashalia is a delicate little thing, okay? He's a delicate flower, all right? Ion's like a big oak tree, all right? Still doesn't like it when you try to chop him down. He's like, no, that hurts, man. But he can withstand it, and Pashalia's over here like a fucking dandelion blowing in the wind. Poor little Pashalia. I'm not making fun of him. I love him. He's delicate and precious, and I just want to hold him and pet him. It's okay, sweetie. We'll get you out of here. The mild aura he'd had when he downed his water earlier was gone. His voice, dripping with hot fury. I was at a loss for words. Oh, interesting, because I figured it came out more sad than, like, angry. Looks like the duel's over now. Together with those words, the surrounding people stood up in increments and began filing out. I'm also put off by these duels, but not to the extent of anger. I kind of, the only problem with eating it myself is stuff like that. Like, I take it as like, oh, Pashali is a little sad, and it's like, no, he's angry. You know what I mean? And it'd be like, I kind of wish they would tell you he's angry before, but if you had the voice acting on, you'd hear it. That's the not benefit. The anti-benefit, the problem? Yes, but then you'd have to read along, and this is more fun for you, right? Like, though they were painful to watch, this duel was confined within regulations. At the end of the day, it was only a performance, right? I also pay a little more attention if I'm reading as opposed to like if I'm just reading along while the voices are going. Like sometimes like I do exactly what I do when I'm reading a book, and all of a sudden you're like, wait, am I like 30 pages in? What the fuck just happened? Because like your mind wanders and like other things are going on in my brain. So this, I focus more. Surprisingly, sometimes I still am reading out loud and my brain is doing something else and I forget shit. But like I can retain more of it because I'm reading out loud. So, but it would also take 3,000 hours if we played the voice acting and then read. So, what we have. But we do miss things because you don't get to hear that he's angry until after when she's like, his voice was so angry, and you're like, oh, I didn't read it that way, but okay. Like, though they were painful to watch, this duel was confined within regulations. At the end of the day, it was only a performance, right? Well, mention that killing isn't allowed. There were even referees around. Thus, if this was the norm for this city, I would turn a blind eye to it. Vishalia, however, made a distinct declaration of his disapproval. Actually, it's pretty rare for him to be so forthright about things he doesn't like. His words were always embedded with kindness, carefully chosen not to hurt anyone. But now fierce emotions were coming through, which is interesting. Interesting. On one hand, I wanted to know why. On the other, I felt it wasn't my place to overstep my boundaries. I'm sure that this isn't something I should poke my nose into as his teammate, but as his future lover. Coming to that conclusion, I did my best to change the topic in a cheery voice. It'd be nice if it weren't so violent. A more peaceful contest would be better. Peaceful one. Dance or singing contest, perhaps? Whoa, whoa, whoa! Let's not get dance battles in here. That shit's tight. Exactly, or an art contest. Which one's better? I mean, Vishali is beautiful, so a beauty contest. Might be interesting to see what he says to that, and he's beautiful. Or an art contest. Well, an art contest, because he said he used to draw for the water spirits, remember? So that might be like an art contest, because he, like, doodles for the his little fae friends, right? Ah, it is an art contest. Woo! If there were an art contest, it'd be right up your alley. You're so good at drawing. The circus flyer you made in Orion's had a great reception. Oh, that's true. I forgot he was also drawing the posters. It was like, oh, he drew for the Fae. And I'm like, did they mention him drawing? But other than that, I can't remember. But yes. And I really like your art, Pashalia. If I were the judge, you'd be the champion. It makes me very happy to hear you praise me for doing what I enjoy. I thought I'd never be a part of any competition in my life, but if such a contest existed, I'd be eager to dive in. No matter who won, I'm sure that I'd have lots of fun. Vishalia's eyes lit up as he said that. Once again, I saw how much he loved drawing. A cooking showdown sounds great too. I'm sure that Spiria would get first place easy with her food. I'd be the judge of that. You, Pashalia? The judge would get the chance to eat loads of delicious food, right? How adorable. Oh my god, I was like, why did we go to a white screen? We're imagining this and it's a fucking chibi art. Oh my god. Here's the next dish, a hamburger steak. Look at it's so cute, little chibi art. Wow, there are so many vegetables with it. I love vegetables, you see. I'm glad you enjoyed the sides, but please judge the steak itself as well. You're right. Okay, I'll dig right in. Thank you for the meal. May I have your verdict? The steak was fluffy and juicy. It tasted wonderful. But when you encounter good food, it really whets your appetite. May I have the next dish now? Right away! This is the next dish, gratin. The bowl's hot, so please be careful. Oh, it's steaming. I'll be careful. Getting burned wouldn't be too fun. That's me blowing on his food. So funny. Okay, should be fine now. I'll get started. And thank you for this dish as well. I love how she looks so perplexed right now. May I have your appraisal? What is the spinach and the chicken? The taste was simple and gentle on my tongue. What's next on the menu? Another hot dish? No, it's a cold one this time. Here, a strawberry... Bavaroy? I don't know how to pronounce that. Fancy! Hey, actually in the mood for something sweet. It's like a cake thing. Looks like a cheesecake. When you see something so jelly-like, it really makes you want to jiggle it. Oh no, I'm out. I'm out. I don't like jiggly thing. I don't know what it is, but like Jello, jiggly kind of things, or like mochi, that a gummy kind of. I can't do it. I hate that texture. Like I can handle Sour Patch Kids because they're sour with that chewiness underneath, but they're also harder. But like gummy bears and things, no, but can't do it. Can't do it. I don't like the. I don't like the jiggly. Oh, I know what you. Scratch that. Please focus on judging the food. Yes, ma'am. I'll begin. I kind of didn't think this was going to happen, and so this part's really over, but thank you for that dessert. What did you think? Silken smooth and very mild on my stomach. Silky smooth, right? The strawberry sauce was sweet and tart. Very delicious. Now then, Judge Pashalia, please announce the winner. Oh, forgot I had to rank them. All of the dishes were made with care, neat and wonderful presentation. With, I think is sorry. Everyone gets first place. I love how we just had that. We were like, hold on, I had that Scrubs moment in my head. I have a feeling it'd go a bit like that. You're a surprisingly big eater, Pashalia. I used to have a small appetite. I only started eating so much after I formed a contract with my spirit. Huh, I didn't know that. Being a judge might be difficult for you. You're not the type who's good at ranking things, are you? Well, maybe right. I have the feeling that after a lengthy consideration, I'd end up giving everyone first place. See, we know him really well. That was exactly what I'd envisioned, so a laugh escaped my lips. Judge or not, if you come to Liber, I'll treat you to lots of good food. I've actually been craving Spiria's cooking. After we bloom a flora here, we're going back to Arthir, so I'll always welcome you with open arms, Pashalia. As I said that, I felt the looming end of our journey approaching. A little sad. After this journey ends, Pashalia might end up going back to Ruth, and I won't get to see him occasionally. For some reason, the thought of letting it all end like that made my chest feel tight. I began fumbling for any words that could keep us connected, even after our journey's end. You're free to refuse if you don't want to, but we're short on hands at Liber. Once our circus activities calm down, would you, like to work there with me? Huh? I'm not just asking this because we're short-handed, okay? I just thought it might be fun if I got to work with you, Shalia. So, that's a wonderful offer. My face lit up, but only for one moment. Sorry. I don't know what the future holds, so I can't make any promises. My elation withered away in an instant. I was so dejected that I surprised even myself. Yeah, you're right. We haven't even had our Ferris show yet. As for the offer, well, I'd be happy if you kept it in mind as an option if you consider moving to the big city. I will. He smiled a bit wistfully. He's like, I'm gonna end up dead. He's got some kind of tragic fucking thing going on in his story. Then Pashalia gripped the bottle, which had become empty before I'd realized, as he stood. And there aren't as many people around now, so I'll go investigate other areas. Okay, don't push yourself too hard. I'll see you later. Our farewell was the same as usual. We'd see each other again at camp, and yet unspeakable sorrow tore at my heart, casting a shadow inside. Oh, because we love him. Adorable. Anyway, this is the perfect place to end. So, we might start skipping in the next part because this is night several days later. So anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.